Good evening, all, and welcome to Python Essential class. Let me just play a video so that every other people will be able to join us. We are five here. So, sorry, let me just quickly bring up my system. Can you all see my screen? If you can see my screen, just tap yes here. Sorry, I'm trying to power up my. So please, while it's powering up, can we talk about what we have done so far? I believe I've shared this document with you people. So can somebody tell me what we did in the last class, please? Okay. Vulnerability scanner. You can't see my screen. I don't know why it's taking so much time to actually boot up. Why is we having issues? Sorry, I don't know. It's taking a long time to come up. So can you see my screen now? Okay, let's just talk around what we did the last time we were in class, so that now we were looking at the vulnerability scanner. I showed you guys how you can actually import your port scanner to another script. Then we looked at different, then we now actually imported it. Then we now wrote an init statement where at the base of the script where you actually call the variables, where you can actually treat the script if you are running it as a main script or you are importing it into another script. Then we now moved into the vulnerability scanner itself. But what we declared was simply we declared the input variables. We now move into converting our port scanner into a class command. The first thing was we declared what? The class port scanner. We declared the class port scanner. Then we now actually retabbed it. Then we now define the init function. We define the init function stating clearly the other variables, the self variable, the target and the port number. If you come here, you see target IP and port number. Then we now actually add self to all the functions. Now, two key functions you should actually look at is what I talked about the scan function and the scan port function. Now, if you are looking at the scan port function, we have to remove this converted IP from the scan port function. Those are what we'll be doing today. I'm wondering why it's taking so long. I don't know, maybe it's updating or something. So now if you look at this very well, sorry. If you look at from the, we now introduce self to all the functions we have. We have about 5 functions, 1, 2, 3, sorry, 4 functions. Now the IP address, we don't need IP address anymore. Now we will move the converted IP. Now this converted IP command, we will remove it from the scan function. We will take it to the scan port function. This particular print scanning target, we don't need it anymore. We have to delete it. Now in the scan port functions, we don't need that converted IP, as the target is what from the variables of the main, we have a target IP or already. So those are the changes we'll be doing. Now, we now look at the IP address in this scan port function. We don't need it. This particular banner will delete it and actually what? So those are the changes we'll be making. We'll now bring in self.target. We remove this converted IP. We remove this converted IP. We'll bring it to the scan port. Then we now add self. We add self because we are not using PyCharm. It's not showing clearly whether there are errors on the gedit will not show you that. But in PyCharm, okay, sorry, it has booted up. So let me clear. So I think we are in gedit. This is where we are. So this is what we are working on. We're supposed to finish this today. So I think where we stop is we added self to all the functions. I don't know, please, if you are here, just screenshot your screen and share it. So if you are at this stage, I don't expect you to actually go and cram it. If you are at this stage, just screenshot your screen and share with me. Just share your screen where we stopped that day, not the one that you have crammed. Just give me 2 minutes, please. Please, can you screenshot this particular part and actually share with me? I don't expect that you've actually hello, can you all still hear me? I've lost you guys. Can you all hear me? Please screenshot where you are. I don't expect that you've actually finished what we are doing, except maybe you went to copy and paste. Hello, please, can you screenshot where you are? If you are here, please screenshot here so that we know what we are doing. So we want to progress from here. We've actually declared our scan port function. We converted the script to a class script. So the next thing, what next thing are we supposed to do? Okay, the last, Mr. Ikene, the last part where we stop, I want to be sure we are building together. You've not gone to where we stop. We just convert added self to target. So the next thing we want to do, according to, let's follow the training guide I actually shared with you guys. Now we just converted all this to what? Added self to them, right? We've declared port scanner. Now the next thing we need to do, since the variables have been defined in init function, there's no need actually. So all you need to do is remove all the functions. So in all the 4 functions we have, all you need to do, the function 1, scan.target, so you first remove all the functions, other functions you have there. It has been defined in the init. So that's the next step we need to do. You delete all those functions first. So all you have there now is just, in all the functions, what you have as parameter is self. So we've declared class port scanner. We've actually declared the init. Now we've actually, in the scan port, in all the functions, we've actually included what? Self. Remove every other function. Then the next thing to do, so that we don't waste time, I want us to finish this day on Friday. Now we move the converted IP to what? We move it from scan function. We move the converted IP from scan function to what? Scan port function. So we move the converted IP from scan function to scan port function. That's the next thing to do. Move this converted IP. This particular stuff, we don't need it there anymore. You erase it. So move this converted IP. You can copy it. Cut. You come to scan port function. You put it here. So that's the next step. Please, if you are here now, what have we done? Now, at the point in time, you notice that we don't need this particular converted IP. All we need for the range, because target IP, all we need for that particular range is the port. So we don't need that converted IP anymore. So all you now need is what is the port. So when we move to the next part of the we look at each functions and actually correct the self parameter. Like this converted IP, there has to be self, dot, then this particular place, there has to be self dot scan port. That is the end. So we are currently approaching the end. So I don't know, this class is dull today. Can you guys screenshot? How many people are here? Can you screenshot, or you've done it? If you have finished it, just let me know so that we just walk over and talk about it. And we're not supposed to write the other script today. The other script is supposed to be written in the last class, then we'll run it in the last class. If you're already written this script, can you just tell me you've already? I'm not seeing. I don't think you are following me. Have you already written this script? Because I've given you the note. Okay, all right. Okay. Sorry, let me send the corrections we have done so far. Let me send the screenshots to you so that you can do it and send to me, because it's more like I'm the only one working here. So that is the recent that we have done. So you can make those amendments at the right place, screenshots, so that we can move to do the next amendments. So please, I want us to finish this old script today so that on Saturday we just do the vulnerability scanner, then we actually just run the script. I hope you know this script on its own will not run. You are importing it into that vulnerability scanner so that, because it doesn't have any printout. So you are modifying it as a class script so that it can be imported into the vulnerability scanner on its own. It will not run. So let me see what you've done. Okay. All right, that's fine. So if all those amendments has been done, let's move to the next. Let's move to the, okay, that's Mr. Akene. So let me see from other people. You have to remove the converted IP. You have to add, you remove the converted IP, Mr. Ilori. You remove the converted IP from scan function, you place it immediately in what scan port function, like the way you see it there. You understand? You have to put your scan port function, it's part of the program. Converted IP, you put it there and you put self.check IP, check underscore IP, converted underscore IP, check underscore IP. Now, the next thing we need to do while you're actually amending that, the next thing we need to do, if we actually added self to all those stuff, the next thing we need to do, okay, is to actually amend the check IP function. Let's amend the check IP function. So you convert all those IP. Where you have all those IP, you put self.target, return self.target instead of IP. Because what? I think I've answered your question. Okay. I think I've answered your question, Mr. Ilori. So here, you remove all this and change it to what? Self.target. 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 So let me screenshot this part and send that. So this is the next amendment we did. So if your screen is up to date up to that point I showed you, so you can amend this and add. So the IP function, you amend the IP function to all the IPs in the IP function. You amend and put what? Self.target. So when you finish that, the next thing you need to do, I think I've done this part. I think you work on the scan and the scan port function. The scan and the scan port function. I think the next thing we need to do is to so in the scan port function, port, there's no need for IP address here anymore. The sock.connect becomes converted IP. The sock dot that's converted. So sure. Those are the port. Then remove the IP address and place converted IP. I think that's just all that needs to be done there. So let's get that part. So in this scan, you change this to converted IP, then you add port. So that is that for that. I've actually shared this with you guys. So the next step you do is you remove this banner, you remove this get banner, you delete it, then you add it to the scan port.ip. So you type banner equals sock dot. So let me just write it out here. Dot decode. Dot strip. /n dot strip. So that's to strip. I hope you understand why we're actually putting all those backslash, this stuff. Sorry, because when you grab the banner, it comes with some stuff. So we don't. You can't see my screen. Are you sure it's not your network? I'm sharing it again. Can you all see my screen now? Can you all see my screen now? Okay. So you remove this particular, you remove that banner and come and insert it at this place in the what? So you remove this. We don't need this anymore. We are not printing anything. So all this printing, you remove it. So all those prints, you remove it. So you come and insert that. Yes, it's because we want to remove, when you print out banner, it comes with all those, there are some stuffs added to it that are not necessary. So we just want to grab the banner. So all those stuff are those stuff added to it that we don't want it to actually be part of it. That's why we are removing it. So after removing that, then the next thing, you now write you remove this is not, what you write is sock, sock dot recv open bracket 1024 dot decode dot strip. Dot strip. This is actually to remove, there are some additives that come with the banner. This is to actually remove it. So this is the next step you take. You remove this, grab the banner. So all those prints, you remove it. We don't need them anymore. So after getting to this stage, now the banner has to store multiple information. You understand? Because if we are grabbing, now if we are actually looking at a website, there are so many ports. I hope you understand. There are so many ports on. It decodes the banner now. Now you are telling that command said it should actually grab what a script. Now we want to only receive 1024 bytes. So it decodes the banner and strip off those two things. There's those two lines there, it strips it off. So after decoding it, it strips it off. That's basically what it does. So I don't know if I've answered your question. So the first command grabs the banner. Then the second command actually, what it does is to actually strip off those two things that is not there. Now, the banner grabbing is not one. There are many ports, so it needs to actually compare so many. So there is a need for us to create a list where it will be storing the banner that has been grabbed. So we create a list. So we create a list for the banner. So you go here and create a list. Then when you now create a list, you now make a provision where when it grabs the banner, sorry, let me be sure. I think is it before or after? Okay, it's just after the port scan. So this actually creates a list. Now you come here, you come back to this place where you declared your banner. You now write on another comment. So it tells it to actually append as much as more as self.append.banners, self.append.banners, self.append self.append.banners, open bracket banner. So now this command allows when a banner has been grabbed, another one, so it appends it and puts it in the list. So you have a list of banners that has been grabbed. So because you're not looking at grabbing banner now, there's a need to balance this stuff because it's grabbing it from the port number. So we are sure that it will tell you so and so banner was grabbed from so and so port. There's a need to balance. So you have to create a list also for the ports. So you need to create a list also for the port. So you can come here So you've created a list. Then you now have to come back here and actually write append all the ports. The last place is self append. Self.openports.append. Self.banners.append. Sorry. So it is self.banners.append. Bring them. Sock close. Set box. So that is let me snap here. So that is the end of the script. One. Two. Okay. All right. But this is the full script already written. I will start from that place now, Mr. Now, as you can see, let's just do a from the former script. We have what? Let's start from afresh so that we can refresh our memory. That's the last part of the script. Now we have four functions. Now we have four functions. We have the scan functions, the scan port functions, the check IP function, then the what? We have the banner function. Now, the first thing we did was to do what? From the main script, that's the vulnerability scanner script. So you will be importing this your script. You've declared that, but you are what? Modifying it so that when you import it, it will work. Now, the variables you have there is what? Target. Your target is what? The input. Enter target to be scanned. Normally, it's your what? Open port. Now, sorry. Now, the target to be scanned can be IP or website. Now, you have open ports. Enter amount of ports you want to scan. Now, you can declare the amount of ports. You can declare 500. You can declare 1,000. You can declare scan 500 false ports. Now, you have to have a list of vulnerability softwares so that that you've seen that are vulnerable. So as the software, as the port, as it's scanning and grabbing the banner, it's comparing it with that list that this particular banner is vulnerable. That means it can be what? It can be attacked. So that is actually what this particular script does. Now, how did we start it? First, we said the script has to be converted to class. We converted it to class. Now, the next part we did was to define what's the init function, which we have done. Now, the init function comes with a self. So in the init function, we declare the methods and parameters, self, target, and what? Port number. Now, we now added what? We declared the init function fully. Now, we now actually added self to all our functions. The scan function, the IP function, the get banner function, and the scan port function. Now, we now said since target has been defined and self is actually assigned to init, there's no need actually repeating all those other variables. So we deleted them from all the function. The next thing we did was we pulled the converted IP from the scan function to the what? The scan port function. Now, that print statement, we deleted it from it. Now, remove the converted IP in the scan port function. That means this particular one. Now, for the check IP, now this particular function, what is its function? Is it what? To resolve, to convert what? To convert the host name to what? To IP. But in this place, you're not using that IP. We've actually set it to what? Target. That is what we declared it as the variable. So that is actually why we converted it to what? Sorry. Okay. Access method. Converted IP. Did you delete or something? Okay, this is it. This is the place. So we change the IP address towards self.target. Why? Simply because is the IP in this case, in this particular function, is what? Target. So we do not need converted IP again in scan port. So we removed it and brought converted IP in this place. So all those particular prints, we put converted IP in sock.connect. Because that is actually, in terms of connection, that is actually what you need to do. Sorry, 1 minute, please. Hello, Esther. I don't receive. I'm in a training. I'll call you back. I'm in a training. I'll call you. I'm in a training. I'll call you back. So sock.connect and converted IP. So that's what we changed there. Then the next thing we did, we removed the banner, the banner function. Then we placed it in the scan port function. Now, to allow multiple banners, actually, we have to declare a banner list. Now, then append command so that as multiple banners is appending it to already existing banner it has grabbed. Now, to create a balance between the port and the banner and the banners is grabbing, we have to create another open port scan list. Then created a function. Now, when this particular scan port is trying, it tried banner. When it gets anyone, it actually prints and appends. Now, this particular self open port is already part of the function it's doing. Now, except there is a space in between them, it closes it, and or it will actually close the stuff. Now, for the ones that does not have a banner, it actually omits them. There are some ports without banner. The ones with banner, it appends it. So that is the old script in a nutshell. I don't know if you have something to tell. So questions to ask. That's where we are stopping. The next thing we are calling, we are finishing the vulnerability scanner in under 1 hour. We will run it. So we, like I said, we take one project 1 week. We started with port scanner, we've written port scanner. This is vulnerability scanner. So if you have any question moving forward, you can ask. So please, do you have a question? So we'll finish the class function. So when we come back on Saturday, we'll be writing. So you can now save this. It has been fully written. You can save this because I've actually been fully written. So let me ls to gedit von scanner.py. So we'll finish this particular script on. So you can build up to this place so that we complete it, then we'll now run it. So that's the vulnerability scanner. I've pasted the final script here. This is it. Let me resend it again. So that is it. That's the final script there. So please, does anybody have questions to ask? The banner. Okay, now let me explain the old concept to you. Now we had a port. We did a port scanner. What does our port scanner do? Can somebody tell me what our port scanner do? The port scanner scans the IP on the website. Now different ports. Now we now added a banner grabber. Now it now grabs out banners on the same port. That's telling us the software that is running on some ports. Please, if you understand it up to that point, just tell me yes. That is the essence of the port scanner. The port scanner shows you what ports that are open on a particular website, and the banner is not a software. The banner is the header of the software running inside that port. Whatever services is being rendered inside the port. Are you getting it? So it just grabs the banner. That means the header is the banner. Like maybe you are running Microsoft something. Oh, it will just grab at the banner of that software and tell you this is what you are running in this port. So you now as the hacker, you now look at, is this port vulnerable? Is this software vulnerable now? So it will now list out the vulnerability of that. Sorry, I think you guys are mixing it up. Okay. This Google so that you can see it. I'm trying to get a list. Okay. So there are databases. Sorry, there's no one. There are databases you can just pick up and okay. So so these are all lists. You can copy and put in that your text file list. So these are part of what you'll be doing on Saturday. So you create lists. I'll create a list. I'll show you how I create vulnerability website list 2021. Are you seeing it? So when you click on it, so we create a list of all the softwares. Then as you're scanning, it will now show it to you. So now is the banner inside the port. Now, banner, there is a service the port is running. So now the banner grabbing helps you pick what kind of service is that. You now actually exploit if the service is actually, you can actually exploit that is vulnerable to what? Attack. Have I answered your question? Now, any open port is running a service. Any open port is running a service. So the banner grabbing helps you identify what kind of service the port. So it grabs the header to let you know that so and so service is what is running. You can now exploit how you can attack the website through that open port. I don't know if I've answered your question, Mr. Solomon. I'm Mr. Olalekan. I just wanted to show you guys how you grab the banner, or how you create a list. So this is a service. Grabbing the banner means getting the header of the service running in that particular port. So, Mr. Solomon, have I answered your question? Mr. Ilori, yes, banner is not a software, but the services running in those ports can be software, it can be server, or whatever it is. So now when you grab the banner, you are grabbing the header of the kind of service. So it gives you an idea of the kind of service running in that port. So have I explained it clearly, or you need more explanation? Okay. Okay, we'll take a break here, then we'll continue on Saturday. On Saturday, we'll round up this, we'll create a list, import this, then actually run the script. So we take one project that you would have completed, port scanner project, vulnerability scanner project, then we'll move towards ARP spoofing project. So we'll treat all those projects before you actually get to your main training. So which you all practice clearly, I will pick it up from here. So see you guys tomorrow, 7:30 or 6 p.m. as you guys want it, because we need to cover a lot of ground on Linux tomorrow.